Welcome back as we are in the middle of what may well be the most competitive mud race ever. Jeff Acker out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the Insanity 1927 Ford T-Roadster with supercharged Chevrolet power is on the line. He must run quicker than 1.840 seconds to qualify for the Camel Shootout. The 4 quickest drivers will return in this 80-foot acceleration and deceleration contest. On the brakes hard and even sideways, incredibly close to the disqualification banner that marks the 80-foot end of the shutdown area. Full throttle all the way to the finish line, then hard on the brakes as he puts the machine sideways trying to pick up distance. It's literally a matter of inches. We'll have to go to our overhead camera to see if this one is legal or not. Sideways and still a matter of inches. The elapsed time still has not been announced, but the officials are down on the ground telling Acker whether or not the run will be allowed or disqualified. They say it's good, but the elapsed time, 1.86 seconds, will miss qualifying by 0.02 of a second. But still an incredible driving job by Jeff Acker, the Milwaukee racer. On the line is Melvin Brown again. Earlier we saw his Blue Max Jeep. Now it's time for his Red Heat rear-engine supercharged dragster. Almost out of bounds before the finish line, but certainly the Red Heat dragster will stop in time. A great driving job during the actual run itself, but look at the elapsed time, 1.786 seconds. And believe it or not, that will put Melvin Brown, number 4, in the quickest field of mud racers in history. On the starting line, the Ground Zero Chevy S10 of Jeff and Jack Sturkin out of Holland, Michigan, the team that finished number 2 to world champion Tom Martin in 1989. A supercharged small block Chevy engine in this full-body truck. On the brakes, trying to stop it in time, and again within literally a foot of the disqualification marker at the end of the course, Sturkin stays in with a full throttle 80-foot run. He had to go quicker than 178 to qualify. It would take a career best for the yellow Chevy to make the field. The elapsed time comes up for Jeff and Jack Sturkin's Ground Zero at 1.91 seconds. It won't be good enough. You can see the disappointment on Jack's face. Steve Bells out of Dover, Delaware with a small block nitrous oxide Ford Fiat leaves the line. Certainly a wild ride in the shutdown area, but because of the conservative starting line launch, the elapsed time won't even be close to qualifying. 2.21 seconds for the small block Ford-powered Fiat will leave him far from making this field. But pulling to the starting line right now is the winningest driver in the history of the super modified mud racing sport. The 6'6", 350-pound guy they call Tom Martin, the 1988, 89, and 90 world champion with a brand new 1932 Chevrolet called Super Trooper. A nitrous oxide injected 588 cubic inch Chevrolet power plant. He must go quicker than 1.786 seconds. Martin did indeed shut the engine down early, trying to give himself room to stop, but that may have been the worst thing to do against the quickest bump spot ever. And look at the numbers. He had to go quicker than 178.6. He runs 1.786 seconds and will not be in the shootout. Tom was excited about the run, but it will not be good enough to qualify the winningest driver in the history of the class. Out of the state of Iowa, the Bad Habit 1932 Chevy of Byron Tinky, a supercharged 427 cubic inch Chevrolet power plant, with Mike Eckerson adjusting the throttle on the starting line. Tinky makes a full throttle run, and he'll stop with about 5 feet to spare. He's got to go quicker than 178 to get in the quickest field ever, and he misses by more than 1/10 of a second. 1.89 seconds won't help him a bit. That will bring up the newest super modified mud racer on the U.S. Hobbit Association Trail. Gary Cook, who owns a monster truck, believe it or not, also has become involved in mud racing with a brand new supercharged Chevrolet-powered machine called Bad Omen. Again, it would take a career best by this driver to make the quickest field. He drives at full throttle, puts it sideways to save the space, but I can almost guarantee that that elapsed time will not be good enough to qualify, not even close. 2.35 seconds for the brand new supercharged Chevrolet of Cook. And certainly the biggest question on the minds of both fans and drivers is how much quicker can this field get? At this point, we're looking at what may well be the all-time mud race. Right now, it takes a quicker elapsed time than it ever has in history to qualify for the Camel Shootout. Pulling to the starting line is one of the most popular machines in all of mud racing. Mark Watrous out of the state of Michigan, and a supercharged, fuel-injected, Ford-powered Ford Thunderbird funny car. The Team Rancho Shock Absorber Special moving to the line is, believe it or not, an ex-quarter-mile drag racing veteran. This machine, originally campaigned by the Candies and Hughes team, driven by Mark Oswald, had run a best of 274 miles per hour on asphalt before going mud racing with Watrous at the wheel. Watrous qualifies the car as far as distance is concerned. Now he has to wait for the elapsed time numbers and the Ford-powered T-Bird. A great run. Full throttle to the finish line, then immediately locking up the brakes, stopping within 2 feet to go. The elapsed time on the run comes up, and Watrous runs 1.71 seconds. The #1 qualifier and the quickest Ford-powered run in the history of mud racing. Absolutely astounding performance for Mark Watrous. Look at the numbers that it takes to get into this field. Watrous, the #1 qualifier, Jody Kelly, #2, Tony Perotti, #3, and Melvin Brown's red heat on the bump at 1.786 seconds. Those are the drivers that'll battle it out in the shootout. It will be wild. There's no question that since their inception, all forms of motorsports have been dominated by men, and very few women have broken that stranglehold, even driving these machines. But within the ranks of the U.S. Hot Rod Association, there is one woman who's broken through the biggest barrier of all. Tina Kelly is the only female event director in all of motorsports, and to handle herself in a world of men is a completely different situation. Was there anything you really had to prove to them at the onset?
Yeah, #1, that I knew what I was talking about, and #2, that when I say something, I mean it. I do all the checking on the vehicles, make sure they're safety. I take care of all the competition rules. I book all the vehicles. I decide who goes to what show. Basically, just make sure that the competition runs as the rule book states. What we have here is a laser light system set up. We use a stage beam laser. This connects with the starting beam laser, and then we have a finish line laser at the end. We put spotlights on the other side of the track, which is what activates the photo cells. When they break this staging beam, the top of the tree will come on, okay? That's how they know they're staged. So actually, they have about 18 inches to jump before they break the starting beam. They give me the okay. The tree comes down to green. He breaks the starting beam. That's when his time starts. Then when he breaks the beam at the end, it cuts the computer off, and it reads out the time.
Do you feel like a pioneer? Do you feel like a first woman to do something?
No, not at all.
But do you think you've opened the door for other women to do it?
Yeah, I think I have, but it just hadn't really, I never really think about the fact that I'm the only woman that does it. I just go out and try to do a good job.
An incredible lady. But while we still have super modified mud racing to come, we've also got monster truck action. Stay with us.